key components of a successful data engineering framework?
So the foundation for me is like a robust data architecture, like thinking about architecture foundationally end to end is important. And as part of that architecture, you need to think about sourcing the data, or a lot of people call it data ingestion. I think thinking about ingesting data from diverse sources, how do you manage? I think that's an important part of that architecture. Then it's just the processing of it, like storing it and then processing it are two additional components. How do we derive value through that process and store it in a way that makes accessing this information easier and faster, including consumption? The other aspects are publishing, in the sense, how do we make it easy for this information to get consumed in the way you want it to be consumed, because consumption patterns are different. This would things like APIs have become a first class citizen in a data engineering aspect, which was not traditionally the case. Always data was thought about as a warehouse with a report on top of it. I think that paradigm has left. So now think about consumption as reports and self-serve analysis, reports, dashboards, but also ML models running on it. How do you empower those analytical models being built, but also connecting it to operational systems and presenting these insights as part of operational journeys. Thinking about that is become important. Then I think there are some foundational capabilities that have also become important part of data engineering that you need to think about is understanding the governance aspect, which includes, for me, loosely quality, security, compliance. I briefly talked about some of these things. So think about these aspects foundationally as part of data architecture, because I think is one of the things I've seen many companies don't think about it as part of the initial implementation, and then they try to build bolt-on solutions, which then makes it hard. So I feel that's an important component to be thinking about. And then last aspect is just the operational aspect, right? It's very important now that you're the lifeline of that ecosystem of your business, thinking about how to keep that function going. So monitoring and maintenance and that infrastructure has to be thought about. How do we make sure that we keep our information fresh, relevant, and accurate? And how are you going to react to things happen in life? It's not going to be a perfect system, so there are going to be issues. But the question is, how do we support and maintain this ecosystem is also equally important. So that's loosely in my mind are things that are part of the framework.
Yeah, so you can see why it's really complex, because there's many components that go into it. I guess even like data privacy and data governance, that's been the big growing field within data engineering, isn't it, over recently?
Definitely. That's why I think it's become like a first-class citizen. In that, many times I think we've never thought about it when we're building a data solution. We've never thought about it on day one as part of engineering. Now, any of the docs or any of the data strategies that we build, this is, a first-class citizen section that we'll ask. If it's not there, then your architecture is incomplete, in my opinion. So I would always ask for that to be thought out. Same as I feel is the operational aspects. I think you need to think about it as part of the design and not as an after fact.
No, brilliant. Interesting. So, what's the